I'm Pete. I play the keyboard and I sing a little. And well, if I play the keyboard, sometimes I play other instruments like guitar or probably bass sometimes. But most of the time I play keyboard.
I'm Craig. I play the bass. That's it.
Chris, sing, shout, make a lot of noise on the guitar. That's basically what I do.
I'm Daniel. I'm playing with the Good Library since 24 years.
And what do you play?
Drums.
Can you hear still?
What?
You codger.
My name is Lucas. I play the guitar.
And you sing. I
sing,
remember.
Play synthesizers.
I remember. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, synthesizer.
We're all individual one-man bands. Apart from me, I just play bass.
We used to jump around on the stage. Remember? We would
we
change
were-
instruments in the middle of concerts, but we don't do that.
Too stressy.
From time to time we do some jams in here, the practice room, and swap instruments.
Yeah, I love to play lines on the keyboard, and so does Craig. Craig comes up with the best keyboard lines sometimes.
We call him Elton.
Thanks. Jeez.
Brian Jonestown Massacre, The Doors.
The thing with our band is that we all come from different musical backgrounds. I think most of us have been in the bands before, and I think all of our tastes are originally quite different, and I think that kind of emergence of different tastes is what forms the Good Library sound. But as a band, if there's kind of a type of music that inspires us all, I think it's the kind of German psychedelic stuff from the 70s, Can, Neu, Rapper, that sort of stuff. But then it kind of splinters off. We all have our own stuff that we bring to the music, which we could answer individually. But that's the kind of pinnacle of what we do is, and whatever emerged from that, you know, that I think that type of music was influential in a lot of English music that came around that time as well, and also in the 90s, stuff like the Peter Band, Clinic, Superfurry Animals, all that stuff that was kind of inspired by that German wave of psychedelia, which is where I think a lot of us are coming from.
I think we're all a bit of 60s children in a way, maybe 90s so much.
Maybe less.
I grew up on the Beatles, of course, and Rolling Stones, and Doors, Led Zeppelin. In Connecticut, all you heard was like Led Zeppelin on the radio. It's like every day, that's all you did. And the Doors were, of course, and Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd was also a huge inspiration.
Core
The
of
idea
band.
of the band at the beginning was basically to try and make something that wasn't around at the time, middle of the 90s, I guess it was. Punk orientated, psychedelic.
Pop as well, we did that kind of.
So the idea was to make something
We actually,
individual.
yeah, we played that kind of stuff for quite a while in the 1963.
When did you start though? I mean, what was your zero?
95 was this.
95.
I joined
The
1996 and
Yeah.
you met a bit earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we three were playing since 24 years, as I said. We played a lot of that stuff, what we said before, and we then by 2000 we wanted to break away from that, do something new. And that was when we actually broke away from our first guitarist that we had back then. Craig came in, Lucas came in later, and that's what we're still sticking on. So it's working great, I think.
Yeah, and obviously it's not our main income in life, so we have free to just treat it as a experiment and not be restricted in what we make as a sound. We don't need to try and sell anything, so we just do what we like, and I think that is a very encouraging way of keeping it going for that long.
I mean, a big turning point in the history of the band is when a local record company,
a small label.
A label, that's right. Concord Records got interested in us. They saw us play live, I think, at the B-72 once. And I think up until that point, we were just kind of enjoying the band on a kind of day-to-day or week-to-week basis. And, we didn't really have any plans as such, but this label
gigs.
kind of, we played gigs. But there wasn't really a long-term plan. Maybe there still isn't really. But when Concord got interested in us, they said they would start releasing our things. And when was that? 2002 or something?
6.
Yeah, we released 2006, I think. Well, when they first saw us, I think it was a bit before that. And I don't know. The direction of the band changed, and suddenly there was a kind of an agenda somehow, for better or for worse, and they believed us. They still do. We're still working with them, and for me at least, that was a big turning point where there's the possibility to take music to a broader audience, and their kind of tag is das Höfliche Label aus Wien or something, and they Höflichste.
No, das Höfliche.
And they have their kind of roster of bands is very broad. They have all sorts of kind of local music, and they're also not doing that as a job as such, but they have this passion that we share as well. Something that has added to our longevity, I think, because there's not many bands around that have been for more than 20 years, I think, and that's what we share with Concord Record. Common sense of passion in just performing our art.
Anyone that'll have We've been through
perfect answer.
from Venstre to B-72, Chelsea, long time ago. The usual places, huh? We played in Munich last year, which was great.
Frankfurt a few times.
If it fits, it fits, and we'll play.
Our go-to venues these days are Kramladen and Café Carina. That's where we usually play on the circuit. I think Vienna has, in many ways, a unhealthy attitude towards local music, in that there's a financial barrier that you have to often pay a deposit to play in a venue if you're an unknown band.
Or you pay for the sound guy.
Not just that, you pay places like Bath or whatever. You have to pay several €100, which you might get back if you bring a certain amount to the bar. People buy enough drinks, but it's difficult for bands to play. So it's Chris said anywhere that will have us. But I mean, those venues on the Girdle, Ritz, B-72, Carina, Kramladen, they're perfect for bands of our side. Fluck as well.
It's just a case of you don't want to play in a place where the sound isn't safe, so we do try to keep in a location that you can be guaranteed to come across well. We played in the summer, what's it called, the Gürtel Night Walk last year, in an unnamed location, and the sound, so it's careful. It's important to be careful where you actually end up playing. I think that drives our decisions a bit. So.
Absolutely, yeah. If you have a good sound guy that makes it sound good.
I think that the example of that was Fence to 99, and that was when we first saw that place. We thought, this is an amazing venue for us. It had that CBGS kind of. I've never been to CBGS, but it had that kind of punk as fuck attitude,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
The
Punk.
sound was
But unfortunately, the sound was absolutely shit.
horrible.
Yeah. So we kind of, we played there 3 or 4 times and we vowed.
And the fact that everyone's like throwing wine and beer and.
No, that was
so-
just Andrew.
That was it.
In the end, it's
His brothers directed the new Indiana Jones film. Really?
we play wherever we can, basically, and you know, it's about trying to spread the music, and that's our ethos, I think.
Yeah.
We should mention
I think, you know, first and foremost, we just like playing. So if we can, you know, if it means meeting here every Wednesday and working on our recorded or live or jam stuff, then that's great. And if we can get gigs once in a while, I mean, I think before the whole lockdown scenario, we were playing quite a lot. You know, once every 2 months, maybe once a month. And I think that's the most frequent we've played in for some years.
Because in the end, to be honest with you, we are best live. Recorded material is good, but we are really a live band, and I think that is, you know, that is the frustration. But it is to play live is what we do best.
Mm. Bogey and best.
Arena,
Arena.
open air, and indoors.
Yeah.
anything up there.
Not gasometer.
And not Otterkringer Barara.
Say Naveen in the old days.
Yeah, it's in a vein.
Not the narrow ones.
Chelsea's got a great. Flex has also got a great song. Depends who's playing. I'm not going to go to a venue just because it's a venue. Depends who's playing.
Yeah, the Stadthalle is not really.
I think for the size of the place, the Stadthalle's got a great sound. And
Well, they could change the size of the rooms. You know?
Yeah, but even at the arena kind of scale, whatever, you know, if it is an arena scale, yeah, I think the sound's alright. I've seen some great gigs in Stuttgart.
Spotify started the Brian Jonestown Massacre, go on through the chain, and there is so much great music around at the moment.
Just playing live.
Personally, as obviously an old psychedelic person, there's so many great bands around now, more than probably ever before. Yeah? There's so many cool bands from across the world. We played in Graz with a band called Triptides 2 years ago, I think. Young guys from California touring in a bus, small, brilliant.
That's one of the best
music.
things about being in a band, playing with other bands.
And I think-
Brilliant venue.
I think now there is the chance, because there is no money making music. Huh? So if you want to make music, you do it because you love it. And I think a lot of the underground bands are doing it just for that right reason, huh? To play live, to express themselves, and there's so much good music around the world. It's
My
unbelievable.
main source is Six Music, the radio station.
BBC Six.
So there's never a dull moment there. But music magazines as well, but you know, the only music magazine I kind of get is I always get because I got a cheap deal years ago. It's a kind of an English magazine, a British magazine that celebrates kind of old kind of rock music, Mojo magazine. It's also okay for new stuff, but it's more kind of a celebration of musical traditions. It's also okay for finding new stuff from the past.
I'm constantly fed from all sides, so I don't need anything to help me look for something because it's a non-stop bombardment of music from everywhere. It's hard to find the. Sometimes I listen to classical just to get away from it all.
The best new stuff I discover is when you chat.
Yeah, exactly. I've often tried not to let myself be inspired by something, but try to find my own thing. So it often turns out that what I'm playing is very similar to something.
It's inspired.
Anyway,
You
you know,
take
you can't get
your
away from it somehow. But I'm very also it's a kind of a bit of a bane in the band, but I love blues. and
That's the tension
I love
I
the-
talked about.
I love it.
Not really, it's a serious thing. I mean, the fact that he loves blues flowers or colours our sound, because we're kind of not that, I think the rest of us. And I also have a kind of a nostalgia for early 80s pop music, which I'm sure everyone else hates in the band.
Which
but
I also have.
Which you do as well.
But we found a middle ground.
But that potpourri of tension and conflict creates our, in my opinion, quite unique sound.
Yeah, Craig, we found a middle ground.
We do?
Yeah.
80s
Punk.
blues. Punk.
Punk.
I've
Not
never.
punk, sorry, funk. But
Funk, yeah, Lucas and I have a kind of.
Because you like funk.
Yeah,
Funk
I
is
like
also
funk.
bluesy, so we get away with it.
That's our our meeting point where we cross swords. Not swords, no. We merge, we melt together.
It's a kind of liquid,
Slime.
zähflüssige Masse.
Slime.
Violett leuchtend, die sich langsam über den Körper zieht, warm dabei ist und glitzert und funkelt.
I would say a frying pan because you cook something in it, and that's what we do. We cook. We cook with music.
Beautiful answers, man. We used to have a song called Cooking. I have no better answer than those two.
Marshmallow.
Toasted or otherwise?
No, soft one. So pulling it in one kind of direction.
Pete, for you probably be a kebab, right?
No, I suggested the slime, which he
Slime.
already suggested.
Like in the
Some moving liquid
It's
was
just
also
A
right
viscous
imagination.
kind of. Would it be slow moving or? I suppose it's
Sometimes
slime.
slow, sometimes
Yeah.
fast. Depends.
Like a lava lamp.
Yeah,
Probably,
Lava
yes.
lamp. We could probably answer that question. Well, I couldn't, obviously, because I haven't really come up with an answer for that. To be honest, they were excellent answers.